Hi everybody!
Yo.
This is Ben.
And this is Ildi.
And we are doing random
2000s. What is it?
2000.
Okay.
Anyway, so random 2000s, and like so far we watched Newest, we watched Shiny, what else did we watch? My Name.
Mr. G.
So I kind of got curious about this band called 2 p.m.
The hottest time of the day.
Yeah, you know. And then I know that they were like 2 a.m. and 2 p.m. and then they were like in a show together, and then there were two groups debuting or something like that. And we know that Jay Park was in this band.
Mr. Aquaman himself.
At one point in his career. And I particularly wanted to watch something when he was still in it. I know this song because I've seen this performed, I think by GOT7 at some like year-end show or whatever. But I actually never seen the original. So we are looking for, and also we have to take out like our bingo cards for, because I am going to take a look if I can find some more. La la la, my lady. Okay.
Pretty baby. La 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 la. Be my lady. Oh, I love this song. I love this band.
Okay, actually, this is, you know what this is? This is my K-drama book, because I'm writing a K-drama.
Oh, yes.
So, AKA, but it's actually like, I wrote some dialogues and everything, so it's like, it's getting there. Now it's just like ideas, because I studied in film school, so like I constantly, push out ideas, and then we'll see what happens afterwards. So, notebook is here. Let's see how many can we catch with the bingo cards.
It won't be as many as we had in My Name, but it'll be some.
So just to recap, what were the 2000 particular characteristics?
Dancing in a box.
Dancing in a box, yeah.
Heavy eyeliner.
Eyeliner, okay.
Anime haircuts.
Anime.
Simple point dance.
Cut. Point dance.
Randomly happy chorus.
Okay, so the major chorus.
Yep.
Major chorus.
What else do we want? Lots of weird accessories.
Spikes.
Spikes.
Spikes/accessories. Okay.
What else do you reckon? We've got the heavy eyeliner, right? Yeah. What else? Handmade outfits.
Oh yeah, very true. Handmade outfits. Okay, I think that's fine.
You could probably say cars as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, we watched 1 second of this, and there was a car coming out already, and I was just like, what? They are not even driving themselves usually. But anyway, just expensive cars, Porsches or something. Expensive stuff. There you go, instead of the Gucci jackets that they have.
It's a car.
It's a car.
But at least a car has a purpose, you know?
Meaning dancing in front of it?
Yeah,
or what do you
obviously
mean?
hiring it for a day and dancing in front of it. In a studio, in a box.
In a box. I love the fact that compare it to Western things, that what's missing? The girls are missing from this video, because you have the car, you have the box, you have the guy dancers, and you have no girls whatsoever. Yeah. But anyway, let's see, maybe Jay Park will change that.
Do you reckon he will? Do you reckon JYP's going to let them get some girls in?
I mean, JYP has his own songs with everybody dancing around. So okay, let's see. 10 out of 10. You are 10 out of 10, girl. I'm assuming that's the message. That auto-generated English. Should we try? Probably.
Probably be quite funny.
Okay, let's see. So 10 out of 10.
Here we go.
Expensive car. Arriving in front of a hotel.
There's one.
Okay, one.
Girl.
Hey. Jay Park! Nicole. Oh, he's amazing. I like him.
Hello, Juno.
Again, interesting is that I'm not a fan of this band, but I know these people because they are very famous, right?
Chansung.
Oh, I've seen him in a drama.
Taekyon.
I've seen him in a drama.
Woo Young.
It's interesting because they're so famous.
Love this song.
This debut is so precious though.
Oh yeah. JYP. You know it's good when you get the whispered JYP.
And it's only 400.
I'm pretty sure it's Gina as the female in this video as well.
Wow, what?
They're definitely getting the girls.
interesting because it's similar to, girls, they love me, the kind of message and vibe, right? With GOT7.
JYP's thing. That's
can
a meme right there.
I can basically tell that JYP has a songwriting tradition. It's very JYP.
They started off with a so of course he does.
What's going on here?
They're fantasizing about Gina. Carino Baccio.
This is surprising, this song so far. Wow.
Hello. Hubba hubba.
Oh gosh.
Same, Tekken, same.
Wow. I mean, this is a JYP song. For sure. This is like their bad boy image, isn't it?
This is why they were like the beast idol, weren't they? They were known because they were quite muscular and quite manly.
And then they are
compared to most. I guess not so much in this comeback, but it developed.
This is not a comeback, this is a debut, right?
Yeah. I'm used to calling comebacks. Oh yeah. Look at hair on it as well.
I love this though. I really like this.
It's awesome.
It's really good.
I love this song.
Oh no. The boyfriend is coming. Oh no.
All the backflips.
Amazing.
Oh,
the
tumbling.
acrobatic idols.
They were known for that.
Yeah.
Look at this. Yeah, she's getting a 10 out of 10. That's for sure.
I mean, I love what J-Park is wearing though. And there's another one. The hottest time of the day, the first single.
That's why their fandom's called Hottest.
I'm assuming that the hottest time of the day is when this particular girl reappears out of nowhere. Well, I mean, this is kind of interesting because again, like if you think about GOT7's debut, it had a similar kind of vibe around, like girls, they love me and etc.
Yeah.
It's kind
Cocky
of interesting that, but if you compare it with the other boy group that JYP has now, Stray Kids, that has nothing to do with this vibe whatsoever.
Elevator.
So it's kind of interesting. Would you say that I don't see that this concept being happening that much with the recent boy groups.
No, it doesn't really.
That is very interesting though. Because up to 2013-14, you would have these we're chasing after a girl, the girl is beautiful, etc. whatever. And nowadays when the song is about a girl, that it's more like a dreaming. Could I spend the night with you? Obviously.
Consensually.
Not even consensually. Obviously, standing outside of your house, looking at the moon and dreaming about a date on the beach, walking and talking about books and movies. That sort of vibe. If you think about Astro's hits that are coming out recently, which are very popular, by the way, and they're all very kind of innocent-ish. And it has nothing to do with following the girl and oh my god, look at the low cut
Look at that
top.
body.
Look at that body. That is not happening, right?
Yeah, not so much more meh happening anymore, is there?
I mean, to be
They're
fair,
all about the more meh back then.
I mean, it's good. It's good from a certain extent, obviously, because it's like less objectifying. But it's kind of interesting to see that I would argue that like an innocent side of this like jokey chase is not necessarily a bad thing. So obviously, like if the lyrics are like weird or whatever or like, but it's kind of interesting that I can't remember a specific boy group debut or anything like that which was around this theme. It's either like we are coming in hardcore and like dancing and rapping or whatever, but it's never really about
or it's we're cutesy
cheeky.
boys.
These are very like cheeky boys and like it's kind of cool though.
Yeah, I love it.
I mean, it just
oh
my god.
I miss this as a thing.
Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, this made me think about concepts, about like how different they are. And this is not that okay. It is that old. It's 10 years.
11 years old now.
11 years old now. It feels like it's a classic.
Oh yeah.
I
don't feel like people remember this song that well though.
You think so?
Yeah.
Maybe not an international fan, but I do think that in Korea this is a well-known song.
I suppose so. Yeah.
Because of this catchy.
I just never see it talked about.
I've seen it used on TV shows as a kind of like as a joke or like a phrase of like this whole 10 out of 10. That is like a catchphrase or like a running joke that I keep seeing. But it's hard to say really, because I'm guessing 2 p.m. or like certain groups were popular with certain parts of the society or whatever, like, or they were loved for certain songs, but then change the concept. And I saw these guys in different TV shows and like dramas. So
yeah, they were a pretty popular band or overall, I think. I mean, they were pretty strong fan base for some years, I'm pretty sure. But then obviously then military enlistment happens.
Yeah.
So it becomes harder to maintain a fan base. But they were JYP's breadwinner for years because they did amazing in Japan.
Did they?
Like, unbelievably well in Japan.
That is fascinating.
They were the breadwinner for JYP right up until Twice happened. They were the biggest earner by quite a bit in JYP.
Wow, and even with like the fact that obviously they had their own little scandal with J
Park, yeah.
J Park leaving, obviously, who then they came back and did very well in solo. But like I remember seeing a TV show bit where like 2 p.m. with still Jebom in it were kind of on a show with Girls' Generation, and they were giving them roses or whatever, and like choosing like who would you then select from each band, and like kind of like pairing them up, which again is something I would like to point out doesn't necessarily happen anymore.
Yeah.
Or like some TV shows that I see second generation idols in or earlier ones are again almost cheeky in that sense. They would often get them dance together, or like an SM special and then FX dancing with Shiny together.
Yeah.
Like, isn't it? It's
at that year-end award ceremony when they did like a G6, like EXO and FX or something like that.
So it's kind of interesting that nowadays you rarely get those opportunities when girls and boys idols interact with each other.
That's something a lot of older fans really miss. Like, it's very prevalent if you look in comment sections of like any of those old like specials where there's like all groups coming together and doing a fun little performance, or like girl groups and boy groups on the same show interacting, or like when how 21 TV used to be a thing, and like Big Bang would pop up and they'd be like really good mates and like having a chat together, and GD would be like poking Minzy or whatever. like people really miss that interaction because we don't get it anymore. It's like almost at all.
It's kind of interesting because I just watched a recent episode of Weekly Idol with still Donnie and Connie on it. So it was like Victon.
Vintage.
Now it's vintage because now they are like on Idol Room, obviously, so it's like a different. But I think Weekly Idol had like a maybe not that strong period, but I think Kwang Hee is back and he is great. I think he's changing of Weekly Idol.
I watched him and the host trying to do Muzzle Tov 2 times speed. That was funny.
I think he's the good thing about Funky that he's changing it to his own way. Like
he's not trying to be Donnie and Connie.
Yeah, but Donnie and Connie, and it was Pentagon, Victon, and Momoland. But just after they debuted Momoland, so it's like it's before their big hits.
Yeah.
And it was kind of interesting that even that was 2 years ago already. And there were very little interaction other than like they need to do some
It's
some
awkward.
like sports thing, and the poor girls were really struggling, and all the boys looked seriously concerned about like, oh my gosh, I just, some of them I could see in some of their eyes like they just wanted to go there, grab the girl's hand so they don't
Help
fall
her.
off each other's back or something when they need to like run and spin and turn and whatever, and they were just like, oh my god, like that's they're gonna hurt themselves. But again, like we rarely get any interactions.
Now you're mentioning that, I watched a Weekly Idol one as well, which was like the Super Rookies one. And they had like KNK or Kunakun if you're Korean, and they had what else did they have? They had Astro. They had what was
these
that
are
girl
very
group?
funny episodes though.
What was that girl group? They had that song called Severely, but I can't remember what they're called. Was it 410 or something like that? Something like that. And then there was one more that I can't remember.
Anyway,
but like that was really kind of awkward.
Fan.
I did quite like KNK. They're pretty good. But we miss.
So you were saying
yeah, like this show was like kind of awkward because they almost just put them in competition rather than having them all on the same show. Like it was like, oh, when your song comes out, you come and dance, and like, oh, there was a cover dance bit, and they all have to come out and do it.
Yeah.
But like, it's almost like they're just competing for screen time more than they're actually interacting.
That is true.
Like, it was just kind of awkward. And like Sungjun from KNK kept coming out and doing funny stuff, but like you could see some of them were getting a little bit irate. Like one of the girl groups was like, because he just came out and was funny and like hilarious, and just like the camera was all over him, and you could see one of the girl groups getting a bit annoyed because like that's my spotlight, you know. It just feels like they don't really. It's not as chummy as it used to be. It's not as fun. I guess.
I think one of the reasons why I guess I like Men on a Mission or Knowing Brothers or however they call it, in translation, Ask Us Anything is another name for the same show. It's probably one of the reasons why I like that show that much, because obviously like the kind of artists, usually the artists who are on it or whatever, are older, and you would get those kind of adult jokes, or I don't know, like not in a bad thing. You get what I mean? It's something
they don't mind like taking the mick a bit.
Yeah. It's not about inappropriate jokes. It's not about that. It's just basically having that teasing thing.
Jokes at people's expense.
Yeah, and also it's kind of a shame because you would have it's I almost feel it's weird that like they keep them in their own little cages or whatever separately, even on like the Idol Olympics or whatsoever, when these are all, if you look at from a perspective, this is just my theory, if you look at from a perspective of like idols young kids look up to in terms of how people behave, how people should behave, and like what's the right way to do whatever, just like what's the right way to kind of behave in society or just be a model citizen as a young adult. You're basically not showing them how to interact respectively with other genders because you're keeping them apart. Like if there would be any situation where like they don't have to always like be on each other because it's like a cultural difference. There's a cultural difference there clearly, but I think if certain interactions would be allowed in terms of shows and just like games or whatever, I think it could create a great synergy, which would make for a better show. C, it would also be a great example to show to the young generation in Korea.
I think it might almost be a product of kind of people getting a lot more touchy these days about like women's representation and like sexual assault type stuff as well, because like you saw how badly it went when Sunny tried to have some fun with Irene from Red Velvet. Like all he did was sing a line of his song and point at her a bit as to kind of like goad the fans a little bit, and everyone blew it up as some giant issue when it really wasn't, It's kind of so I think whenever stuff like that,
you mean K-pop fans are more,
they're very protective of their idols. I think basically, like if someone even looks at their bias wrong, they're like spewing fire at them in the comments. Like it's just like chill out a little bit. I guess people back then were fans of the genre, whereas now people are fans of the band more. I suppose.
That is an interesting thought. Very, very much an interesting thought, because you see that happening quite a lot, but at the same time, I think there are examples that kind of contradict that. Like, you would have dance performances, which are like really, really strong interactions with like, NCT's Taeyong and like whatever Red Velvet member. I mean, that was hot. Like, that was on fire. Like, you get what I mean? Like, then why is that then working? I mean, isn't
but how
that
rare
like,
is that? You know,
I mean, isn't that just like, oh my
you
god,
see?
they do something well? Like, why are we not reacting strongly to a clearly, hot dance performance together of two young, very popular idols?
Yeah.
But, them saying like, hey, what up? That's like already... Or like, looking at each other while like somebody walking on cake on. I've seen now that you say that, I actually seen comments like that like Lee
how could he look at her like this?
Lee Woo-jin, who is like AB6's member, X101, and like Cheon, who is the iZone super cool dancer girl.
Oh yeah.
And then like, I don't know, they both like did one move, and I've seen like a 6-minute video, which I haven't finished obviously, but 6 minutes video just dedicated to that one interaction. So it's like, and then people were discussing that one little interaction. So it's kind of interesting, like how we now, probably it's also the fact that fan cams are so widespread now compared to this era. 10 years ago,
didn't really have
they couldn't get away with more, probably, isn't it?
Yeah, I get it's just. I think just everything was a bit friendlier back then. Like you'd have collaboration stages between people who weren't even in the same company quite often.
That is true.
Like Big Bang and Wonder Girls did a collaboration stage before, and it was awesome. And like, I kind of wish we'd have more of that kind of thing.
I think that
I
is
don't
very
see it
true.
enough. And like when we do, they don't actually sing on stage, which really is a buzzkill for me.
Oh, there are so many things that we missed from that era. And obviously, K-pop is changing and it produces amazing new stuff. But there are some stuff that, should come back, could come back. Let us know what you thought, and tell us what you kind of miss about that era and what was so great about K-pop at that time that you would give 10 out of 10 points to. See you guys very soon in the next video. Bye.